green tea latte? I'm gonna give you coffee. Coffee Talk is a 2020 indie game developed and published by Toge Productions. I actually played the early build of the game about a month ago and I really enjoyed it. And thank you to Toge Productions for providing me with the key for this review. In Coffee Talk, you play as a barista who runs a small coffee shop that only opens at night, serving people drinks while listening to them talk about their daily lives. You'll meet many customers that have normal jobs, but the catch is, most of them aren't human. The game's world takes place in an alternative version of modern Seattle, where humans live alongside fantasy-inspired races. There's a lot of interesting characters, from an elf who's a freelancer, a vampire supermodel, and an alien in an astronaut suit. That's not a race, a different entity maybe? He's definitely not from here. Coffee Talk plays like a visual novel. In each day that takes place in the game, you'll learn a bit about the customers that come in for a drink. Making the drinks is simple, as it only requires you to select 3 ingredients from the shelf in order to start brewing. Some customers will expect you to remember what their usual order is, so it's important to take note of their favorites. If you need specific recipes, then the brew pad on your smartphone is available. You'll need to do a bit of experimentation though if you want to serve special drinks to someone. For example, some customers will want latte art, or they'll request for specific drinks depending on their mood. Which brings me to the game's overall tone. I'm not sure how many hot drinks I went through while playing this game. I just felt like I couldn't continue unless I had a nice warm mug in front of me. And that's a sure sign that the game nails its cafe ambience. I spent some time vibing out as I read the daily short stories on the Evening Whisper and shuffled through the in-game music player. The raindrops, background music, and other subtle sounds were great, and everything blends well with the wonderful pixel art. It all feels kinda like those chill, lo-fi music videos you'll see online, except you get to experience a story and make some coffee in this one. The entire game takes place in the cafe, so it doesn't take long for things to feel familiar and homely, especially when certain customers start to drop by more frequently. You'll get to know everyone little by little, with their own story arcs. An early example in the game is the relationship between the elf and succubus. I actually mentioned their star-crossed lovers situation in my previous video, but since that one was an early build of the game, it only scratched the surface of their circumstances. Playing through the full game though, I liked how their relationship wasn't simply about how it shouldn't be a thing. It gets deeper, with other characters questioning both sides of their story and exploring the sacrifices that they have to make. I also enjoyed Freya's story, the first customer you meet in the game. I thought her ideas were interesting, and I genuinely wanted to see her succeed in writing her novel, despite her trouble with writer's block. Hyde is one of my favorite characters just because of how caring yet straightforward he is. He's also a vegan vampire. What's not to like about that? But anyway, this is really what the game is all about. The little banters that the characters had were fun, but a lot of the conversations actually felt very relatable and deeply personal, even with the fantasy fiction mixed in. From the difficulties of parenting, the entertainment industry, friendships between different races, to even the obstacles that game developers face. There was also a bit of politics and social issues here and there, with most of it being a glimpse from the daily newspapers in the game. A lot of them hit close to home, while others were... they're not entirely wrong. But it was pretty cool seeing background events in the game that were not only based on real life, but seemed like something that could happen in reality. But of course, some things bothered me about the game. I sometimes felt lost when I was making drinks. There were times when a customer would ask for a certain drink that I haven't discovered in the brew pad. After saving my game, I proceeded to mix different ingredients for a while, hoping that I'll somehow figure it out. I get that experimenting is part of the fun in the game, but I think it would have been better if information about known drinks were available. It made way more sense for drinks to be discovered in scenes where the barista either has to invent their own beverage or whip something up for customers who are being vague, like if someone asked for something warm and bitter, or any drink with honey in it. I liked learning a bit about each drink though. Some were fictional, but others were based on popular beverages from places like Russia, Indonesia, and other parts of the world. I also think that the game wrapped things up a little too fast in the end. There was even an addition to the story that left me confused, but at the same time it all sort of made sense when I went back to certain scenes in the game. I took my time and ended up finishing the entire story at nearly 5 hours, but it can definitely be beaten in a shorter amount of time. I continued playing to mess around in free brew and challenge mode, to explore them and discover all drinks. It was tricky finding the last few recipes, but I still managed to do it, at the cost of throwing away a ton of failed ones. I also replayed a few days in the game just so I could piss people off by giving them the wrong orders. But overall, the game's a pretty solid experience. I like cafes, and I like coffee. I also like interesting stories and characters. If you're like me and you enjoy that stuff too, then you'll probably like Coffee Talk. It's a nice experience if you're looking for something short and simple to play. Let me know what you thought about the video. I just finished my second cup of coffee while writing this. Not because of the game though, I just needed that little boost. Anyway, I hope to see you in the next video.